Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway, because their slogan is Gateway's got it. And just what does that mean? Well, it means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's got it. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient. Well, guess what? Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home, and who doesn't want that? In fact, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. So when you want a dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ and Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. And welcome to another episode of The Mom Game. Emily Jones, Julie Dobbs, the regular suspects. Mm-hmm. Yep. But we have a guest in studio. There's an irregular suspect here.
Yes.
I'm
so excited for this.
I will let
guest.
you introduce him.
Okay, I'll introduce.
He's your
him.
buddy.
He's my buddy because we worked together on the Stars broadcast for a while, and I'm no longer there, but he's still there. He's still there. They wanted to keep him around because he's really good at his job.
So he got you fired?
No, not at all.
You guys are just hitting the ground running here, just starting strong.
Josh had nothing to do with me getting fired. I still don't know anyways if I did or whatever happened there. It doesn't matter anyways, but
you're not bitter
Josh Bogorad is here.
Hey girls. How are you?
He is the Dallas Stars play-by-play voice, which I know for you, I'm so excited to have you on, first of all, because I feel like there's just a lot of things. There's a lot of synergy, if you will, which is one of my new business speak words.
Oh.
There's a lot of synergy here because Josh is the play-by-play voice for the Dallas Stars, and he also has 2 young kids.
I do.
So he knows the craziness of trying to juggle a sports schedule, a job that you worked really, really, really hard for to get, and having little kids that demand a lot of your time, and a lovely wife too, Andy. So that's why I wanted to have you on today. Thank you for coming.
Well, thanks. It's so good to be here. I got to tell you, girls, I love the show. Like, I listen to it, I watch it, and I wondered, when we decided I was going to come here, what it was going to be like to be in the studio. And literally, as you're counting down before we go on, Julie is hysterically laughing off camera on the side. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of exactly like I thought it would be.
Exactly.
And
I'm cussing.
It's right. It's everyone who's listening or watching at home right now. It's exactly like you think.
And maybe we should tell everybody why, because I'm not quite sure what kind of Emily we're going to get for this show. Emily's starving.
I'm so hungry. Yeah. And we're not drinking.
I think is the larger issue, if we're being totally honest.
Did you think we were going to have a big old glass of wine for you?
I'm thinking,
sorry.
Hoping, whichever
we
one.
Usually do.
Where like just like an old Holy Grail sized goblet that you could just pour in, especially for initiation, like the first one.
I know.
Yeah. Where is it? That's the only.
I think there's some whiskey here.
So here's the deal.
We have how long to find out?
So usually
we'll
we
send
shoot
one of our people.
On
just kidding. We don't have people.
Usually we shoot on Tuesday, and usually on Tuesdays I make a run to the wine warehouse before coming here. Since we're shooting on Monday this week, I didn't make the wine warehouse run, and I didn't have the foresight.
You're saying you don't even have wine right now?
I don't even have any wine
that was the
on
problem.
my person.
Yeah.
I don't pour in my car.
You thought the problem was she was hoarding it and not sharing with anyone?
Well, I just thought we
If
weren't
you see
drinking.
Emily just kind of dip under the desk for a bit and come back happier, then we all know what happened.
Why.
Yeah.
I thought we weren't drinking because it's noon.
Well, I mean, that hasn't stopped me before.
I know.
It's Monday that stopped you. It's not noon. It's Monday.
It's poor
another reason
logistics.
to hate Mondays.
It's just terrible planning on my part. I mean, I had plenty of wine at my house, but I left the house without wine.
Okay, well, we won't let this happen again.
No. And usually our fine people here at Vocal have Scout and Cellar wine, have some of my
That's gone
good
too?
wine on hand.
Oh, dear.
But no, if John Ritchie, if you're listening to this, you haven't ordered in a while, and maybe it's time. Maybe it's time.
I think that's a heck of a sales pitch. Like it's so good that like they don't have any left. Like they
Right.
just go through it too quickly.
exactly.
You gotta
It
double your
evaporates.
orders.
You
It's
need to read-
No,
Stop.
I'm honestly nervous for this one because we have a wine thirsty Emily and a very hungry Emily. And Josh, I'm so sorry for bringing you into
And,
this
yeah.
mess. But I think she's gonna pull through.
I hope so. I got my
Julie-
fingers crossed.
Well, Julie's car is really messy, so there's that. So if we're gonna trash me, I'm going straight for the jugular.
Sadly, I heard that episode, and I'm kind of very, very apologetically on Team Julie. And it's not necessarily
I've
by
gotten a lot of
choice.
support.
It's not by choice. Yesterday, I was out with my family, and we were going somewhere, and in the back was a brown bag that you would get from either like your old lunch bags or, in this case, from my oldest son's soccer post-game treats, right?
Oh, they put it in a bag.
So yeah, they don't just
nice.
chuck the food at you and
That's
just like
what we get.
like put it in like a salad shooter and just fire it at the kids.
I only have 5. Fend for yourself.
But so the bag was there from a game the prior weekend, and I left it there on principle because my son was bringing stuff in, I was bringing
Love
stuff
it.
in, and he literally says to me, he's like, "Dad, I know there's a bag there. I'm gonna get it for you." I'm like, okay, fine. So I just leave it there. And I was thinking about this podcast and your discussion. And obviously, they don't know the backstory of this. I'm like, I'm going to just ride the experiment and see how long it goes. And lo and behold, he has been in and out of the car like 5 times since then, on the way to school, picked up from school. We go somewhere else. We go to a hockey practice. We go to another soccer practice and game. And not only is the bag still there, it's got friends now. It's multiplied. And so I like that I can now blame them on at least a little part of it. But yeah, I look at people that have 24/7 spotless cars on the inside, and I try to maintain it. But with the kids, they are sabotaging. It's an inside
They
job.
are.
There's nothing you can
Except
do.
for Emily's trained her kids to have OCD already.
Yeah, which is you figured it out. Like you hit a home run there. But I try.
Brilliant
But I
plan.
saw that paper bag, and it was like your debate was just ringing in my ears.
we get
when
in your
I-
head like
yeah,
that,
I know.
don't
It's
we?
it's very,
And
very
then
scary.
Julie's blaming me for leaving Anna's ballet shoes
I
at her
am.
house because
Yeah.
I am. So after that episode, like right after, I was feeling like shame, just like shame. Like I am just bad. I can't believe I let my car get like this. I've been publicly shamed. So I cleaned it all out. I got out my little vacuum, and it still probably wasn't like, I'll say Emily clean. When I was younger, my mom used to come into our rooms and say, "Is it mommy clean?"
Yeah.
Like that's how we got past, passing grade or not. So my car still wasn't Emily clean, but I felt like I did something. So everything was out of it. So then I'm in the situation where I go on Sunday. We had a park play date, and then the play date kind of ran long. We were having fun, and I was like, you know what? We're just gonna go straight to dance. Because dance is at 11:45, and so I'm like, oh, it's fine. I've got her shoes in my car. So then I go to dance, and then I'm like, I have her little tutu, I have everything, and I go to like get the shoes, gone because I cleaned out my car. No shoes. I had to borrow.
when you had the tutu in the car, was the tutu always in the car, or did you grab the tutu
I thought I grabbed the tutu because I thought that the shoes were in the back.
in the car?
Yeah.
Because it's a given. You just like your trunk is like sports equipment. It's like it's basically like an academy, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to.
Although-
I really try. I keep the cabin as clean as possible. I take the stuff in and out. But when you're going, and I think Julie and I have had conversations like this, and I'm sure you've done it too. You're just a better person than me, and I'm okay to admit that. But yeah, when you're going from one sport to the next, my younger one's in 3 sports right now. My older one is in 2. So you're constantly feel like you're like a 6-year-old like Uber driver, and you're just going from spot to spot. You just keep the stuff there, and then all of a sudden you do clean out the car, you clean out the trunk, and inevitably you're going to go somewhere, and you're like, oh my God, it's not there. Like it's been there. It's been there for 2 weeks, and then the one time I needed it, it's not.
And then you're
How old are
frazzled
your
again.
kids?
My older one is 9, and my younger one is 6.
Okay, 9 and 6. That's
Yeah.
close to mine. Mine
Yeah.
are 10 and 8.
Yeah.
But so 3 sports for one right now?
So we're morons is the backstory.
Okay.
Like that's, you just have to, you have to understand that me and my wife are really not bright people.
Okay.
And then once,
So not
once
true.
you accept that, so what happened was we decided each kid was going to play hockey, and then they got to pick between baseball and soccer. They both picked soccer.
Boys,
and
girls?
they're both boys.
Okay.
And so my younger one had not played in a soccer league before. He had played baseball before, and he had watched my oldest play in these leagues, and he's been waiting as long as he possibly could to get on a soccer team. The pandemic kind of set us back with a little bit of stuff of when he was going to try, because he was 4 when all of that happened. And so he was like just about to hit all of these sports, and he's just a crazed animal when it comes to sports and activity. He wants to do it all. But we make the decision we're going to do 2 for each of them. They each pick hockey and soccer. And then it was almost like it was a scene from a movie where he had incredible timing, where he just wakes up one morning, so sweetly comes in to me and my wife and says, you know what? I really miss my baseball teammates. I miss my friends. He's on a team, they're the Tigers. And he says, I miss the Tigers. And we're like, yeah, buddy, like we do too. But the season ended and we move on, and we're about to have all these new friends, and we've got our school friends, and we made our choice. And he's like, okay, like that's all right. And he was so super cool about it. Well, 2 days later, we get an email from the coach of the Tigers.
The Tigers are coming
that
for
says,
you.
just so you know, no pressure at all. I know you guys decided not to play, but literally every single kid from last year's team is coming back, except for Aaron. And I went ahead and just saved him a spot in case you wanted to. So now you've gone from us making a quasi-responsible decision to us being just absolute jerks if we say no.
Yeah.
And so me and my wife, again, this is back to where we're not very smart. And we said, we looked at the calendar. We're like, we just don't think we can make it work. It's all going to be when the Stars are starting up again. And then my schedule goes from 0 to 1,000. And as it works out, baseball and soccer, they end pretty quickly into the Stars season. And then the hockey season ramps up. So we knew when we decided to do this, we were probably in for, say, like 4 to 6 just hurricane style weeks. And we're in that right now, but it's going to burn off soon. He's really happy. There's conflicts like crazy. My wife had to create a color-coded calendar that makes it look like a scene from A Beautiful Mind, where we just have like etches on the walls trying to figure out who goes where, when.
Right.
I need,
and it's
I need
great.
her. I always joke, like, I need a wife.
Yeah.
I need someone to come in and do these things, because I'm supposed to be doing that stuff. Like the stuff that you do and the stuff that Andy does, like the color coding. I'm supposed to be figuring all this out, and I don't have that capacity.
I'll see if I know someone.
I figure it out, but I'm not I'm last minute, you know?
Yeah, but I've bumped into you after so many Stars games, and I see you, and I know that's your stock line, and you say that, and then
No, it's
and then it's, you guys are always killing it, and so I know,
Not at all.
And I will tell you that I think it's normal. Anybody that's trying to be a hands-on parent right now, and I'm certainly not a mom, and I need a wife like badly. Without Andy, my whole world crumbles. Like she is like almost like, I was going to say literally, but it's not. the glue that keeps us together. It'd be a little awkward if she was quite literally the glue.
Everyone says literally too much.
Yeah,
Can we talk about that?
She is really figuratively the glue.
She's literally the
that
glue.
keeps
No,
us
she's not effing
together.
glue. She's a human.
But she's amazing, and she, just like you, and just like every mom in the world, I'd imagine, says like, "Oh, I'm overwhelmed. I can't do it." Like one ball gets dropped, you've got 1 million in the air, and you think like you're the reason why things are going bad. And it's, I mean, I try and remind her all the time, like, just step back for a minute, like, and just take kind of a guess of what our life would be like without you, for me and my 2 kids. And it is a horror film. Like, it is a disaster. So I think that's normal, but you guys all are superheroes.
I'm baby steps. You know what I did to try and get more organized? I bought like 3 different planners.
Are all of them empty?
And then I made a really cute mom game notebook,
nice.
and I'll like scribble something on one of them, like here, 12:30 Bogorad. I was prepared for this.
You planned.
I was prepared for this.
Planned for
I have
my
another
arrival.
planner in my purse that has like a few more things on it, and then I have another planner with a few more things on it. It's baby steps. And
What if we just combine them all in one?
I'm figuring out which one I like.
Oh my God.
This is what I mean. I'm not good at this
Make
shit.
a decision, Dobbs.
I'm glad that you spend all this time though with a role model that has a clean car, one planner, and all these things where you're like, when I grow up, I'm going to be Emily.
When I
And
grow
it's,
up. Okay, 7 and 9 are your kids?
8 and 10.
8 and 10. My goal, by the time my kids are 8 and 10, I'll have this shit figured out.
Yeah.
That gives me some time.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. What part of you thinks I've got shit figured out? Because it's not the case.
You have more figured out.
Just in life in general, I just don't have anything figured
It's
out.
fun. But I think one thing we talk about, but I don't think people talk about enough, like how, obviously it's so much fun, but how hard is parenting?
I mean,
I didn't know where you were going with that. I was like,
yeah,
We don't talk. It's just the hardest. And I feel like
Josh, we brought you on today for you to break
I like
down
it.
how hard parenting
Here we go.
is.
All right, you guys want the answer? I got it.
But seriously,
I have no clue.
we don't talk
Like,
about it. And so you're doing this whole like play-by-play journey, right? And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I fell in love. I have this beautiful wife. Let's just have a couple of kids. And then all of a sudden it's like, bam. I mean, it's in your face. You're still trying to navigate your career, and yours like Kelly's and like Emily's is crazy. I mean, how hard is it?
Yeah,
That's what I'm asking.
It's. I mean, you can speak to this as well as anyone. I think all of us can. It's hard, and I think that you just try and make it more fun than it is hard, more rewarding than it is hard. And not to go all Hallmark-ish, but yeah, it's chaos. It's total chaos. And I talk with my friends that don't have kids and where they are in their life and what their last 10 years has been like compared to mine. And it's wildly different. And it's not something that, I wanted. But I look at it now and I just think that's a wildly different.
Isn't it crazy to think about how different your life would be?
It's just, you're doing things that you might as well be riding a unicorn into the sun. Like where you just decided to leave for like 14 days and go to Bermuda. And you didn't have to like make so many different arrangements to make that happen.
$1,000 to someone to watch your
who
kids.
what do you find a magic lamp somewhere in a cave? Like how is that possible? But yeah, there's weird times because there's the times that they're driving you crazy and like you're kind of like pulling your hair out. You got to get your shoes on. Like we're 20 minutes late into a place that I didn't even want to be, that you now don't want to be.
Gosh.
But the only reason we're going is because you told me 5 minutes ago you wanted to be there. And like that's everyday life. And then I'll find myself, and I think you had one of these moments recently when you went to Ryder's first hockey game.
Yeah.
And you're on the sidelines of a sporting event, or you're at a recital, or we travel all the time, and you get a note or a voicemail or something, a video from your kids, and it kind of just, you don't know when it's going to hit you, and you're like, man, all of it's worth it. Like all of it's worth it. And in the moment you realize that it's chaos, and you realize that it's crazy, and you realize that you probably don't have any idea what the hell you're doing.
Not qualified.
Right.
Yeah.
But then those moments, they just kind of smack you out of left field. And I think as long as enough of those moments are coming, it's kind of just the job description, and it's worth it 1,000% of the time.
So did you have to kind of eat shit along the way as far as your journey to this job?
I mean, yeah, like be more specific in what kind. But the answer is yes.
You just made fun of my question and she asked you if you had to eat shit.
Yes. Yeah.
And let me back up a second. That question that you made fun of, that was the best answer ever that he just
That was
gave
a really good answer.
about parenting. And that's what our whole show's about.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was fantastic.
Oh, well, thanks.
Very
That was-
eloquent.
Definitely made lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah. My
Okay, moving on to Emily's.
Yeah.
Did you eat shit?
Yeah, like so much. Like I'm full.
Like where did you? What I meant was, where did you start? Like, did you have to do the stuff?
Yeah, I did. I spent a decade in the minor leagues, and in the low level minor leagues in hockey. And you do anything for that job. And I don't know what your Lubbock experience was like, in detail, but I would imagine that everyone who goes for that entry level job, you're so excited to get whatever opportunity you get. You'll do anything. And I remember in the job interview, and it wasn't really even a job interview, I had to crash league meetings because I couldn't get anyone to call me back for a job in the Central Hockey League. And I sat down and just basically tried to convince the general manager of a team why he should hire me. And He talked about what it was going to be like waking up at 6 a.m. on a Sunday and going to pick up the mascot of a team because he didn't have a car. So I could drive him to a church for an engagement and then go back and pick up a star player and drive him to a school to read for kids. And like broadcasting, which was what I wanted to do, which is all I've ever wanted to do, was like number 100 on the to-do list of responsibilities. And you're almost doing everything else that you could possibly imagine just so you can then do the thing that you're there for. And I did that for a long time. And I remember when I did finally get that first job offer. It's a pro team, and it was a minor league team. It was a AA team, and AA in hockey is not what it is in baseball. This isn't, the starting ground to getting to the NHL. Most of these guys are not going to make it. Most of the staff is not going to make it. You're really dealing with people who are there because they love it and this is what they want to do. And I remember getting the job offer, and it was an offer letter. And my brother, who we were both living in LA at the time, he's my older brother and he's my best friend. I got this job offer and he thought, you're going to be a pro broadcaster. It's amazing. Like, this is incredible. And it was. And then I showed him what the salary was. And and he
no one else understands that,
right? He thought
like,
it was a typo. I think he honestly believed like that can't be accurate.
Yeah, my first salary agreement was $16,500.
Yeah. People can't fathom.
No.
That's like $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like, that's insanity.
Yeah, and meanwhile,
Teachers
you're
are
working
double or triple.
You're working more hours than you could possibly. I think the worst thing I did that first year,
more hours and the worst hours.
Yeah, and
all the
everything.
weekends. It's just
Right. So that first year, I made the mistake of calculating what I thought my hourly salary was by the hours that I worked based on what I was being paid. And oh my God, it was illegal. It was like it honestly wouldn't have been legal in most states.
Where was Where was the AA team?
It was in Corpus Christi, Texas.
Okay.
And it wound up being the best. And the thing is, I was 23 years old. It was the first hockey season that started after I was out of college.
Where'd you go to school?
University of Arizona.
Okay.
So I was in Tucson. I grew up in Los Angeles, and then I went to Tucson and then sent demo reels and resumes everywhere in the country. I knew I wanted to be a hockey play-by-play broadcaster. I took whatever experience I could get in college. I put together just a god-awful demo reel that is...
Was it DVD at that time?
No, it was cassette tape.
VHS.
Yeah, well, so it was audio. Because we were radio broadcasters.
Okay,
no, so on a dual deck cassette, like old stereo that half the audience probably doesn't even know what that is. But you would you'd wind up taking one game off a crummy radio or internet broadcast. The internet was like, it had just been invented practically.
Did you hit the red
awful.
record button at the same time?
And so
as
you're
the
going,
black
you're like,
one?
well, this is when I want to start it. So then you would hit both and they'd both go at the same time. Then you'd stop, find your next clip. And that was my demo reel. And I sent it to every team that I could find, every city I could find in the country. And then I wound up, crashing the league meetings and kind of knocking down the door to get in. But to answer your question, it's like, yeah, you did all this grunt work and I did so much of it for so long. But I also, for the longest time, knew what I was agreeing to. And so I did it voluntarily. And it wasn't always great. It wasn't even close. But I knew what I wanted to do. And I also knew I got the best piece of advice that I've ever received, because I was hesitant to take the job when I knew what it was going to pay and I knew what life was going to be like. And I was moving from LA to Corpus Christi, Texas, a place I had never been to. And it was a daunting
hockey mecca of the world.
Couldn't you imagine like where your hockey broadcasting career is going to take you?
Yeah.
And, I always figured the East Coast.
Hardcore fans down there.
Like it was,
Christi.
It wound up being the best thing. I'm so happy I did it, but I wasn't really on the fence. I was just not thrilled about how it was all coming about. And somebody said to me, and I've thought of this so many times throughout my life when I've had to make a decision like this, and they said, look, go, it's not a life sentence. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to hate this job. You're going to come back in 12 months and you're going to have some awesome stories to tell, and that'll be that. Or you're going to go, it's going to be the beginning of something that you can't even imagine where it's going to take you. And either way, You're going to get to decide. You're not signing a 20-year contract. Just go. And man, was that just like the greatest piece of advice in the world. And I was fortunate enough where it was the latter and not the former.
Yeah. And, I always say that this industry, whether it be radio, TV, sports, it has a way of weeding itself out because you figure out the people who really want to do this because they eat shit and get paid shit and work shitty hours for so long before you finally get to where it is that you want to go. It tests your intestinal fortitude.
And how many unbelievably talented people have you bumped into along the way where they did kind of fall off for any number of reasons, right? Like, I mean, sometimes life gets in the way, right?
Sure.
Like just sometimes it's not even just a decision. You don't have the choice.
You don't have a choice. Yeah.
Right. And so like so much of this is luck and it feels like we're all just spinning on a roulette wheel of how it's going to work out. But 100% what you're saying is true because it does test you. I mean, the hours and the sacrifices and the things that you have to do. And again, I think maybe I'm fortunate enough to be in a spot right now where I can look back and say it, but I don't regret a second of it. It wasn't all roses. There were days and there were weeks and there were seasons where I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, what am I doing right now? Is this really what I want for my life? Because there's also no guarantee it's going to take you to where you're trying to get. There's far from it. And I just tried as much as I could to be happy enough in the moment. And as long as the good was outweighing the bad, it was enough to just keep riding. And I guess I still am.
Quick detour because I feel like this is a really good time to, we're going to get back to your story because there's obviously a very happy ending. But a quick detour to talk about one of our sponsors because I feel like what we're talking about right now. So say you had decided not to do that. You went to Corpus Christi, it sucked. And then you have to go do something else. There's a lot of people that find themselves in that position where all of a sudden you're having to figure out what you want to do and you might need to go back to school. And I feel like a lot of moms maybe find themselves in that position. We have a new sponsor here, Midwestern State University in Flower Mound. They are our new friends here on the Mom Game, and they're here to help you complete that bachelor's degree that you never finished, or maybe you're at a local community college looking to transfer. Their programs are designed to help you advance your career, whatever that may be. Their degree programs are offered completely online, which is great for the working mom or dad or adult learner. They offer programs in nursing, respiratory care, radiologic sciences, teacher education, human resources, and much more. They can help you do basically whatever it is when you have that epiphany maybe later in life that you're not happy what you're doing and you want to shift gears a little bit. Make sure you call MSU Flower Mound. You can complete your degree in as little as 3 semesters up to 2 years. Although their courses are offered online, they do have a dedicated team and campus that's located nearby in Flower Mound for all of your in-person student services needs. And I've been over there. It's very lovely. It's a nice little place if you just want to walk over there and chat with them about all of your options with MSU Flower Mound. So thank you to MSU Flower Mound for joining us here on the Mom Game. We're super excited to have them on board.
And I think it's so important. I think it's great that MSU Flower Mound is trying to appeal to, people who want to further their education, who maybe want to change their situation, want to make their lives better, or just want to, learn more. I mean, I don't know who those people are, but I'm just kidding. I'm like, I can't learn anymore. My brain's not big enough to learn anymore.
Full up there, just
so
full. Yeah.
But a lot of times people feel like they're stuck, doing something that is either not fun or they're not making a salary that they need to support their family.
Yeah.
And so if you feel like that's you, then just go check out all of the things that they offer because you can do something new and different and cool and probably make more money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what this is all about. That's what life's about, making money.
It's definitely a part of life, for sure.
I'm just kidding. So back to Corpus Christi.
No.
So your degree was in broadcast.
Yeah, so it was technically media arts. It was as close as Arizona offered. It's weird because I knew what I wanted to do since I was 6 years old. Yeah. Like, this is what I wanted to do. And I didn't necessarily go to the best school for that. I think I knew what I wanted to do and didn't really have any idea how to do it. Mm-hmm. So I decided I wanted to go to a school that had a massive sports program, and I was going to dive in as much as I could. And so whether that meant being on the radio or doing webcasts or the internet it makes me feel like so old. Like they should be shot in black and white.
We were all there,
right?
yeah.
But
What
like,
year? Well,
so I would graduate in 02.
You graduated in 02. Okay.
And so the internet existed, but not in the present form.
Yeah.
And so there weren't webcasts there of everything. It
You
was
just put your reel on Twitter like people do now.
The internet
your
was
own
the internet
website.
was for Napster.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
could listen to any song you wanted, and then
LimeWire,
LimeWire,
and then it'd give your computer all kinds of viruses.
That's what the internet was. The internet was to get an MP3 in like 5 minutes. But I went and I dove in as much as I could to whatever sport, right? If you needed someone to cover the women's golf beat, I was your man. If you wanted someone to cover swimming and diving, I didn't know what that was. All right, here, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of the beginning of me just saying, yeah, I'll do it. Like, because you have to. You have to. And
get the reps.
yeah, you just, and so that's what I did. And I didn't get a broadcasting degree, and I didn't really learn, to be honest, much in that classroom in Arizona that helped me. But I think I learned so much just by experience and working with teams and working with SIDs and just being around teams and locker rooms and just getting familiar with, how to speak on the air and all these other things that you can't necessarily find for this industry in a classroom. There's so much that you can learn, but this is a really specific industry. And so that's kind of what I did. I just went for as much experience as possible.
And so you're in Corpus Christi. We got to that point. Is that where you met Andy?
Yeah.
Okay.
She bounced around as a kid. Her family moved a lot. Her dad was in the oil field, and she eventually landed in Corpus. And I got there, and about a year and a half into my stay there, I met her, and that alone made it worth every second, every piece
Isn't that
of
weird
grunt
how
work.
life
And
works out? You're like, should I take this job or not? I don't know. You go take the job, you meet your wife.
I mean, it's so crazy because in this line of work with all the jobs and the offers, and you turn left when you could have easily gone right, and you wind up that these are seminal moments in not just your career but your life. I was going to take a job. I didn't care what it paid, where it was. I proved that by accepting the job in Corpus. Corpus offered me the job first. There was a team in upstate New York that called me to offer me a job, and I had just moved to Corpus Christi 2 weeks earlier. If they call 6 weeks before they did, I accept that job before I even know Corpus is on the table. And I oftentimes think about how different life would be. I wouldn't know my wife. Like, I certainly wouldn't be sitting here. Like, there'd be, like, I don't know where I'd be, but it wouldn't be anything close to what this is. And I think about things like that, and there's
like
countless examples.
Yeah.
It is, like, if you allow yourself to go down that rabbit hole, man,
like, oh
that
my
is
God,
a
these
crazy
children
place.
wouldn't exist.
Yeah, all of it.
Mind blown.
The children you're videoing on the sidelines, and it's like, way to go, like banging on the glass. Way to go, Ryder. Like, you wouldn't be here. And it's like so bizarre. It is so
freaking me out
bizarre.
right now.
Yeah, sorry.
We do that. We'll do that.
And Julie and I were sharing some treats in the hallway before we came in here. And so I apologize.
We were.
I knew you were hungry, but I didn't think you wanted these.
You should try it. You'll have more fun. So somewhere you went to Alaska, right? And I want to talk about Alaska a little bit because I know that's part of your story and I've never talked to you about it. And I'm just so intrigued by that part of your story and also just Alaska in general.
Yeah.
I've never been there. I don't know.
Here it's cold.
Are there grocery stores?
So you've been,
do you drive? Like,
yeah.
Are there roads? Stoplights?
We all live in igloos,
it all a big
and
piece
it's
of
just
ice? I'm so confused.
carve out the wall of a glacier, and that's where we played our hockey games.
Yeah.
Alaska was awesome. I was in Anchorage, which is
okay. So it's a big city.
Yeah, it's surprisingly big. We changed head coaches when I was up there after my first year before the second. And this guy comes up, and I remember just chatting with him, and we were doing something for a story, and I asked him the question, what surprised you most about coming to Alaska? And he had the answer that I thought was perfect. He said, if you didn't realize where you were on a map, you'd think it's just another North American city.
Really?
But it is when you're inside, and it's gorgeous. And then you drive 5 minutes out of town and you're in a National Geographic magazine, and in the best way. It's the coolest thing. I spent 3 years up there. I had never wanted to go to Alaska. You run into all these people that save up and it's on their bucket list, and Alaska is where they want it to be. You're obviously not one of them.
By
the facial expressions
based on that face. I don't know if the camera caught it. Emily, as I said that, she's like, "Are they crazy people?
Who are these people you're talking to that have Alaska
Here
on
on the
their
mom game,
bucket
we only
list?
go to Mexico.
There's a lot of them. If you go on an Alaskan cruise one time, it will be like almost all of them are those people. But they've been waiting, and for me, I wasn't. I was probably more like you. I was just like, yeah, take it or leave it.
I'm fine never seeing this place in person.
I really could live to be 100 years old. I'll never
Google
set
it.
foot there. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that it took me there, because in 3 years, I probably saw and did more unique things than I'll ever do in my life. It's
Did you ice fish?
We didn't ice fish. We went fishing.
What kind of trip to Alaska is this with no ice
remember,
fishing?
we're in Anchorage, so we went fishing, but not, you didn't have to carve out ice. You're on a massive body of water. Anchorage is right there, like we didn't have to carve out. But I love the cartoon picture that you have me going just a little bucket hat,
with the ear flaps.
I break out that old saw, and you have to do
You're
a perfect
sitting like
circle.
this little hut, like a little hut by yourself.
Yeah, there are places in Alaska where that is your fishing.
The
It was
Alaskans
different.
must be so disgusted by me right now.
Probably, but don't you think they're the same people that think like we're on horses?
Probably.
So backing up, I'm from LA, and when I took a job in Corpus Christi, Texas, and told my friends that, none of them knew where it was.
Yeah,
Like,
people in Texas sometimes don't know where. Like if you didn't grow up here, I say Corp because my grandmother lives there, and I say that a lot of times, and they're like, "Huh." I'm like, seriously, you don't know where Corpus is?
Yeah, and I've bumped into a lot of people. I know you were one of them. The vacation down there on the Gulf, so you're going to go down there. But they're asking, are the other roads paved? And is everyone walking around in 10-gallon hats and just like shooting guns into the sky, like
just
whenever?
Like us asking about ice fishing.
Yeah. So I've gotten to.
How's everybody doing today?
My life is just busting down stereotypes. So not mine, just what other people have. Alaska was really cool. And when I went, I had just gotten engaged. Mm-hmm. So Andy and she knew that my career was probably going to take me all over the place. And that offered a little bit of stability of knowing that it wasn't just her following me. It was us, carving this out together. We were going to do this together. Alaska wasn't part of the plan. We weren't expecting that at all. It was a big ask.
That is love.
It was a big ask. I wonder if I would have gotten the job a few months before I had proposed to her, like how that would have turned out. But we decided when we went, we kind of looked at it like a prison sentence, right? Like none of us wanted to go there. But the job was so good that we couldn't turn it down. And for my career, it was the next step. It was a good step. And so we said, let's just go and make the best out of it while we're there, and we'll leave when we leave. And we'll try to get out of there as quick as possible. And we both, like independently of each other, just fell in love with it instantly. It was so awesome and very strange. Nothing like with the darkness and, the snow hits the ground before Halloween and it doesn't come off until the middle of April.
Much gear.
Like it's
that you have to wear.
like, I mean, you're layers on top of layers.
It'd be hard to have kids.
But it was, Mason was born there. My oldest son was born there,
wow.
and he
I
was
didn't
born in
realize that.
August. And that's when the sun doesn't go down. So we had to buy blackout curtains for his room in our house because the sun at 11 p.m. is peering through.
That is
and
so
it's
wiggy.
So
People
weird.
are golfing and stuff,
Yeah,
right?
I one time went golfing and my tee time was, I think, 10:38 p.m. I got all 18 in. And the guy hands me my card and he's like, okay, you can go to fairway 1. He says, be careful because around midnight, the bears start to come out.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, my backswing's bad enough. Like I'm like literally looking for like
Watch
bears.
out for bears.
Yeah. How'd you shoot? 80, but I didn't die. So I
didn't get attacked by a bear. So they,
yeah.
I thought.
But
Man,
so
there's so many
anyway,
questions
like
about the bear.
but to button it all up, we decided we were going to go and we were just going to like dive in. If there was an experience to be had, we were going to do it. And we held true to that. There were times it was 2 a.m. and we would get these alerts on our phone. Andy subscribed to this app that told you when the Northern Lights were going to come out. And so she'd get a notification, and 2 a.m, we'd get out of bed. We both had work the next day, and we would just go to a mountaintop and like watch the most incredible fictional light show you've ever seen in the world. And you're buttoned up and it's 10 degrees outside. And it's like, look, we're not going to live here forever.
That's romantic.
We're going to soak it up.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And like, I'm not going to bore you with any more of it, but I could tell you like 25 different stories like that, and each one is cooler than the last. I recommend you give it a shot. It's a pretty awesome place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
Yeah, I'm not really pushing my chips in that this is going to happen. It's just merely a recommendation.
Emily gets a few days off and she's in Cabo. That's her thing. Yeah. That's her thing. Okay, so from Alaska, then what? Was there another stop before?
No. The
remember.
Stars offered me a job out of Alaska. It was a radio pre and post game hosting job. On the ticket.
Yeah.
And so that was my first foray into Dallas. It was weird because I had always been a play-by-play broadcaster. I'd always wanted to be a play-by-play broadcaster. You do other jobs. I mean, you girls know this. You do whatever you can, right?
Yeah.
But it was always in addition to play-by-play. I had never just flat out left play-by-play. This was going to be leaving it. And with the full understanding that, there wasn't necessarily a road back. What has since happened was not part of the plan.
Right.
I think you look back retroactively, it's natural to think that there was some succession plan in place that I was going to come here and this was going to happen. That's not the case. In fact, I was told flat out, don't come here expecting to ever be the play-by-play guy for the Stars. It's not going to happen. Ralph was here.
I was going to say, was Ralph here?
Yeah, Ralph was still here. I mean, he and Razor were an institution.
Oh, I know.
This
itself, breaking up. I mean, no one really saw that coming.
No.
And then I'm sure for you, it's not like you saw that coming and then them hiring someone else and then all of a sudden needing somebody else. So
if it was a succession plan when Ralph left, I was already here. Like they didn't offer me the job. Like it was someone else. Dave Strader, who was absolutely incredible.
Love him.
It's this was just a job where having Mason kind of played into it. Mason was 13 months when I moved here. And, you're on the road. I'm still on the road, and it's part of it. But in Alaska, because there are no teams nearby, every single team you're playing is a long way away. So you're leaving for long stretches. And there were 3 different 3-week trips per season, in addition to other trips.
Yeah.
But 21-day road trips. And, I mean, the longest trip you're going to go on with the Rangers, right? Like when you get to the end, it's like
3 cities, 10 days.
Right.
It's
you're starting
uncle.
to itch, right?
Yeah.
So now you're doubling that.
Yeah.
And you're doing that 3 times during the course of a season. And again, we're still in the minors where when you're home, you're in an office, you're selling sponsorships, you're selling tickets, you're doing marketing, you're doing like all these like PR. Yeah. It's an office staff of 7 people. So it was the same hours. It was increased road travel. And I had this newborn son, and it was my 10th year in the minors, and my career was going well. I had received some pretty positive feedback, but it wasn't tangibly leading to that next step. And the opportunity with the Stars came up, and it was a change from play-by-play, but I knew it was also something that was going to allow me to not be away from Andy and Mason so much. Mm-hmm. And I think that was enough to push me. And then it was also, all right, let's get into a top 5 market. Let's get into an NHL organization and kind of just work on that part of it. Right. The network circle that maybe wasn't as good as it needed to be. Because I always felt if I ever got called to do play-by-play again and assumed that it wasn't going to be in Dallas, because again, I was told to assume that, I felt that 10 years of calling games was going to be enough to fall back on if and when that opportunity arose. And if it didn't, then all right, I was in a different stage of my life. I wasn't that 22, 23-year-old kid that was prepared to chuck everything in a 2-door Toyota Tercel and drive to Corpus Christi and see what was waiting on the other side. I had responsibilities of a husband and a father, and it all went into making the decision. And again, knock on everything I possibly can. It worked out. And even before this, I felt like it worked out because we love Dallas.
Before you came on the mom game, this is
yes,
your moment.
This was it. This was the light bulb where it all kind of came together.
Corpus, Alaska, everything you fought for.
Yeah. But it's a long-winded, very long-winded, I apologize, way to say that.
This is awesome.
Yeah, it was the right move. I just kept throughout my career making what I hoped was the right move at the time. And it wound up being the right move. And my family loves it here. This is home. We wouldn't want it any other way. And it's great.
And that's really all you can do because you come to these like crossroads in life and you're just like, shit, what should I do? And then you're like, this is what I feel like is best. This is what I think is best.
Hard to know.
And
you're
don't
guessing,
know.
right? Like you're making uneducated guesses.
Yeah,
like you're trying.
Yeah.
And it's man, it's a crazy mental exercise to do that constantly in this line of work. And then when it's not going well, you can't help but peer over the fence and see like, well, what if I would have done this? And yeah, it's what we're all going through. Is I love talking to people like you who lived it firsthand because you know exactly. You have your countless forks in the road, and it's
so many.
It's just what this life
and
is.
I love hearing your story and hearing how it does work out for people and how it did work out for you. And it reminds me a little bit of like when we had Jake on and he said something, and I want to ask your thoughts, but he worked so hard to get to where he is. And so many people just in this industry, you start small, you start in the small market, you have this goal. It's like you're always working towards this one thing. You move here, you move there, everything we've talked about, you finally get there. And it's like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do with my hands? I'm here. Yeah. What has it been like now that you've gotten the job and you're awesome at it and it's the perfect fit for you? I just know it's got to be so much fun too.
Well, thanks. It is. I mean, that's the one thing you kind of lean on is we gave up all of that other stuff and we made these sacrifices because we love what we do, right? Because it's fun. There's a reason that I used to dream about doing this job when I was 6 years old. It's because it's awesome. Like it's great. Like you don't do this to like just have a random job. Like,
there's a reason.
Yeah, there's definitely a reason. Jake's interesting because I remember he came on a bad radio trip with the Stars in the before times, before COVID, when
people went on the plane.
Yeah, when everything was happening.
Cookies. Yeah.
And I remember talking to. I think Jake's awesome. Like I think he's hysterical and like crazy talented. And I'm so happy it worked out for him. But I remember having a conversation with him, and it was.
And this is just to clarify, Jake Kemp.
Yes, from the ticket. So this was before he had become Tier 1 Jake. And and he was on this perfect path, but you didn't know what the future was going to bring. And I think it was my first year with the team doing play-by-play. I had been with the Stars for a while. And we were just having, it wasn't a long, like in-depth, but just like a conversation in passing. And the conversation always stuck in my head. And when he got the full-time slot on
we got his own show.
Named Bad Radio. I remember talking. I sent him a text message, and I'm like, I know what this means for you, and to bring it into the mom game aspect of it for your family, right? Like I know what this means for your family, and that's a really special part of all this. Is we're the individuals that go through all these choices, but then the family that supports you through it all is such an undertold part of the story. And for me, I never wanted it to be an undertold part of the story. And so I was just really happy that it worked out for him because he earned it. He deserved it. And then having a little bit of experience of knowing what that was like to just have the stars align. No pun intended.
Yeah.
That's awful.
It's
awful. I swear that was not intended.
Well, I'm glad you said it because I was about to.
No, it's awful.
No, I was about
the planets
to say
aligned. Go back, fix it in post. It was the best word I can use is surreal. Because all of those choices, right? All of those forks in the road and all of those jobs I took and then jobs that I didn't take and then things that I did, I'm talking about literally thousands of hours spent on a bus, like traveling from one city to the next, sometimes sleeping on the floor of the bus because there weren't enough beds for everyone. And just all the different things that I can still vividly remember in my head that were part of this journey. When it actually happens, it's it's kind of impossible to describe. And so you just sum it up by saying it's surreal, and that doesn't even begin to do it justice. I'm so appreciative of everybody that had a hand in it. Like, I had the most amazing support staff with my parents and my wife, and now my children. And it's like it's a terrible answer, but it's impossible to describe what it's like, and it's just really, really incredible.
Yeah. Okay, I've got to ask you, what's it like working with Razor?
I'm in stitches every single night.
So I'll tell you this backstory. So I did some Stars pre and post game hosting long time ago. I mean, back in the day. And I know this much about hockey, and it's zero. Like, I don't know. I know it's fun. I love to watch it. Like, I love the Stars. I root for the Stars. I love to go to hockey games. I think live hockey games are the coolest, especially live playoff hockey games.
Yeah.
And so when I would have to host pre and post game, and sometimes we'd have to have like interactions with Razor.
Everyone was always walking on eggshells.
He was not overly excited about it. Let's just put it that way.
But the old crosstalk.
Yeah. I mean, here's the deal. I wasn't trying to pretend.
Yeah.
Like, Craig Ludwig would be my analyst, and I'd be like, Luddy, I don't know shit about hockey. Like, I'm doing 5 of these throughout the year. I don't have enough room in my brain for hockey knowledge.
We already established you're full.
Right, it's been full for a long time. And I'm like, I don't know shit about it. So I was like, I'm just going to say these things and then just let you just run with it. And then Luddy would be like, sweet, and then pound a beer, and then
you got it.
But I loved it because he was like, Luddy was the best to have in that situation, because he was like, he didn't give a shit, like, whatever. Yeah. But I think that Razor takes a certain amount of pride in the sport, and that all that he was slight, and I don't blame him, that maybe he was slightly insulted by my lack of knowledge about the sport, and it's true. I don't have.
Well, you faked it. Well, I got to go find these tapes. So is what I need.
She was fine.
Have you seen them?
Sandbagging. Yeah, I worked there then.
I will say one of the coolest moments of my entire career. It was after Game 6 against San Jose. Mm-hmm. And Stars won in like 800 overtimes. Yeah. It was like 1 in the morning.
It was a big game.
The network,
still going.
Broke some records.
The network, I forget what network was doing the game, but we would get second interview. And the network took Mike Modano, and I got Turco. And the crowd is chanting, Marty, Marty. And I was like, on the ice doing this, and I was like, this is the coolest effing thing I've ever been a part of. Yeah. It was really, really cool.
It's the best. I mean,
playoff
hockey is so incredible. Yeah. Like, it's the greatest. It's one of the things that, now that fans are starting to go back, you missed it so much. What the Stars did in the bubble run in Edmonton and getting to the Cup final, it was such an incredible run, and the overtime wins and the comebacks and the back and forth games. Game 7 against Colorado would have been a game like that for so many people in attendance, regardless of where it was.
I get so excited thinking about that game, and then also just so like, damn, I wish that could have been in the American Airlines Center. It's just such a loss, like a missed opportunity.
100%. It was such an awesome experience, even as it were. But for you to tell that story, and anybody that's been to a game, whether it was Reunion or whether it was American Airlines Center, there's a playoff moment. My first year doing play-by-play was when they upset Nashville in the first round, and Klingberg scores an overtime game winner in Game 6. It was the first time that they had won a playoff series and clinched the final game on home ice since the game that you did, that you were talking about. And you're talking about a pretty long window, as a decade.
Yep. Hardcore fans that have been waiting and waiting.
I mean, you think about, a 6-year-old that was then 16, or someone who just people were appreciating it for the first time. And I remember I called the goal. It was late in the first overtime, and the place was just going absolutely insane. And I called the goal and laid out. And Razor was really just spot on, recognizing we both shut up.
Yeah.
Both of us just shut up. There was not a single thing we could have said that would have been as good as what the truck was showing you and what audio was telling you. And so they just cut around, and they cut around to the team, and they cut around to the coaches on the bench, and then the fans, and then the wide shot, and then close-ups of fans, and then the team again. And I think it went a minute, and we're live on the air. And I remember thinking, just look around, right?
Yeah.
Even though we're still on the air and like you're still there with your blinders on, like unplug for 20 seconds and just look around. I literally get chills as I think about it right now, 3 years later.
Yeah.
Like that's what playoff hockey does. If you go to a moment like that, and truthfully, it's playoff baseball. Like it's the same
it's so
way.
awesome.
Like it's
Yeah.
like I'm such a sports fan. Like I love it across the board. If you go to a moment like that in the postseason, you're gonna remember it and you're gonna be talking about it forever.
Yeah.
And man, how is it like you're on the field or you're on the ice talking with Marty, or you're on the field interviewing the guy that hit the walk-off home run? Yeah, like how could you want to do anything else?
Yeah.
It's just the greatest thing. It's so cool.
When can we see playoff hockey again?
Yeah,
Here we go. Let's talk a little Stars.
Yeah,
let's round this thing out with some
when is
hockey
it? When
talk.
is this airing? It's I'm 6 months. Call it a date. You know, I think 6
Yeah.
months we'll see some playoff hockey. I like what the Stars are doing.
Yeah.
I think this is a team that's going to catch people who haven't been paying attention by surprise. I think last year made it very easy for people on the outside to sort of write this team off, because you got to remember, not only is it a market in Dallas that doesn't get as much national airplay as some other markets, we were even more centralized with our divisions last year. So you were playing the same teams.
Yeah.
So nobody in Canada saw the Stars, and nobody on the West Coast saw the Stars. Nobody in the Northeast saw the Stars. And so I just think you look at their record and you don't necessarily pay attention to the fact of who they were missing or how close they were with the number of overtime losses.
I just want to toss last year.
So let's
and,
let's
I mean, they were
toss it.
coming off the boat. I mean,
All of it. How many guys were
Injuries.
still playing hurt because of the holdover from the bubble, in addition to
Yeah.
the guys that weren't even okay enough to play hurt?
Yeah, I
so,
feel like
yeah.
let's
I mean,
just trash it.
just
Yeah.
having Tyler back, Radulov
And Rad,
back,
right? How-
and like Rope Hintz, who was playing
Yeah.
on one leg, like after his injury last season. I feel really good about the team, and it sounds like you do too. The
Yeah.
only like thing I'm trying to figure out, and I'll get your quick take on it, and then we can wrap things up. But the 4 goaltenders, I feel like it was the plan was they almost didn't expect Bishop to be ready, and now it seems like he's having a pretty good preseason and working through his injury. And now maybe there's a situation where it's like, okay, we really have to figure something out, because they brought Holtby over and he's looking good too. What's
Yeah.
your take on all of it?
Yeah,
How's this going to shake
it's-
out?
Wait, what happened to we're not going home?
He's
guy?
still here.
That's
Okay.
Anton Hudobin.
Okay.
See, you don't
Like
know
him.
zero.
I
Well, that was
like-
back then.
She-
now you
now
know
she-
the catchphrases.
Oh, we were all
Yeah.
over it. She loved Anton.
Oh my! I was all.
Yeah.
I mean, I was.
Okay.
Glued
I want to get
the
him
television.
on here.
He would be fun. He would be
doesn't-
fun.
Yeah, it doesn't mean
Make
I don't.
sure you don't forget the wine that episode.
for sure.
No kidding.
It doesn't, just because I don't know shit about hockey doesn't mean I don't still watch it.
Yeah.
Like I'm
No,
still
fair-
all in on the Stars.
fair
Like I
enough.
just don't know what the hell.
What you're watching.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he's
Which is
here.
fine.
Jake Ottinger had a really solid rookie season last year, and then there's Holtby that they brought in, who's former Cup winner and goaltender of the year, and then Ben Bishop. You're right, Julie. I mean, a lot of this centers around the health of Bishop and what you're going to do with your goaltenders, and it's kind of a storyline that's going to continue to play out even as we sit here so close to the start. It's this is just going to have to figure itself out in some respect, and it will. And I think that what the Stars are hoping for, what they're banking
Someone's
on,
going to
is
just play their way into the starting
they
two spots, right?
Whoever it is,
Yeah.
they're going to they might have to maneuver the roster, and they might have to make some decisions based on
Salaries and
yeah,
whatnot.
like I mean, there's decisions that have to be made, and it is a domino effect. So you can't really put the puzzle together until you know what all the pieces are. But they're confident, or at least as confident as you can be, because it's a hard thing to put together a roster and like the best laid plans of mice and men in every offseason. And then
It's better to have too many, right?
Yeah,
and then you can
that's-
pick the two that are
and
performing best.
If it makes for tough decisions, then they're in a better spot.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't mean it's going to be an easy spot, but it's a better spot, because what you just said is probably the truest thing. It's better to have more than not enough.
Yeah.
And sadly, the Stars, if you look at their history, like when they went through those long playoff droughts, there was sometimes where it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And you know, once
Like
you got
last
past
year.
Kari, there was nothing. And
Right.
and last year they got
All of a
affected
sudden,
at the
it's
other
like, here you
positions.
go, Jake Ottinger.
Like everything. So it's a good question. I wish I had an answer for you. I'm kind of intrigued, like
Yeah.
everyone else, to see it play out. But I do think that what they did is they compiled 4 guys, and whichever 2 you roll out based on whatever circumstances play out, they like who they have and they like the team in front of them. And I'm pretty excited to see what they can do this year.
Excited too. It's hard on my life and I get really tired, but I'm really excited for this season. And as far as broadcasting, do you know anything yet? Are y'all going to be kind of back to normal? Are you traveling?
Yeah, I think that's kind of being decided
Okay.
too. There's still, I don't envy.
Emily knows all about that. It changes by the day.
I don't envy anybody that's making these decisions. In the case of hockey, you're dealing with 32 different cities, 2 different countries, protocols that have to work when you're going into Canada. Like, just think about the fact that there's protocols for Dallas, Texas, and San Jose, California, which is Northern California,
They have
and
a
then,
lot of rules
then Toronto,
going on right now.
Ontario,
Yeah.
and you're talking about 3 very different areas right now in how things are being viewed. So I don't know. I think if anything, the last couple of years we've learned is we'll deal with whatever curveballs come our way. I'm looking forward to calling games wherever it is and whenever it is.
Hopefully, I mean, at least, it'll be in person. You're not
Yeah.
going to be like in a shoebox at the studio.
I hope not.
He finally gets this job, and they're like, "Here, go in this closet."
Here's a box, and then just walk over there. I mean, we got to do the home games last year in person, which was nice, and that always felt different. Which is so weird to say. Imagine saying that, like, oh, it's weird to actually be at the sporting event that you're covering. There's a sentence that no one saw coming in 2019.
This isn't what I signed up for.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's going to figure itself out too. We had fun doing the games last year. I can't imagine it being any crazier than that. I mean, forever, I will have called a run to the Stanley Cup final in a glorified closet in Las Colinas. And that wasn't really all those years that I dreamed about doing this. I promise you that wasn't the setting for it. Look, it'll play out the way it plays out, like everything else in the world, and it'll be good. But we're gonna have a fun team to watch, and we'd be remiss if we didn't say a big part of that is that we have the best video coach in the NHL.
Of course.
And if you're looking for something
what would they
that's
do
going to
without
put
him?
you over the hump,
There we
that's
go.
100%.
Stanley
that's it.
Cup, baby.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, I'm excited to listen all season long. I can tell how much fun you're having when you do call the games. And like I said, you're so good at it. So I'm so glad you found your spot where you belong there, calling games in here in Dallas for the Dallas Stars. And I really wanted to have you on this show because I knew you'd just be an awesome guest, and he was.
And you were hilarious.
Thank you.
Please
Thank
send
you,
Razor
guys.
my love.
I will.
I asked all
and
the hockey questions.
I'm actually going to let him know that as soon as we go off the air, you and I are going to break down neutral zone forechecks and all of like the things that you were asking me about that we didn't have time for.
Yeah, I've been
go.
really curious about icing.
Yeah.
really curious about icing.
I'll make it. You guys don't forget the wine next time. I'll explain all of
We
them
won't.
to you.
I know.
So-
And this is going to air Wednesday. Wednesday night's our party, so we'll see you there.
Yep.
Razor's coming. We're excited. We have, I think, almost all of the play-by-play teams in DFW.
Razor is coming?
Yeah, Razor's
Good.
coming.
We can have this conversation.
You guys,
There you go.
you can ask him
You're all
about
set.
icing, all of your
I can
questions that
ask.
you've been wondering. No, it's fun to have you a part of the Mom Game family, and we'll be listening and watching all year
We're
long.
excited. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you guys. And honestly, I love listening to you guys. It's a
Thanks.
ton of fun, and congrats on all the success.
Then you should
Thank
know
you.
the way we end every
I know.
show.
I got my peace signs ready.
Love it. All right, here we go. Ready, set, go. Mom.
Mom game out.
Out.
All right.